Hello, this is Gavin Diamond Smith, undergraduate junior of GSU. My intended major is pre-finance and with a minor of Africana Studies. Hello, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, and today I thought I'd like to show you how you can create a pivot table in Excel. So what we have here is that we have this large data. We have this large sales data that we want to compromise, something that we want to create where we want to scan through all this large data. So what we're going to do is that we're going to create a pivot table. First thing we're going to create is a gross margin. So we're going to come to column S and we're going to create a new column. Gross margins. Let me make sure it's wide enough to see. Then we're going to calculate a formula. So here we're going to subtract, put parentheses, then we're going to have our unit price subtracted by our unit cost, then divide by our unit price again. There we go. Hit enter. Then we're going to copy, we're going to drag this little box here so that always it's easier to copy the same formula and the same process without having to type it the whole thing all over again. And that way, it saves you enough time for whenever you need to do something else. Uh-oh. All right. Now that we've gotten what we need for our new column, we're going to come right here to this little box here. Click that, this is going to highlight the entire spreadsheet. Then we're going to insert, pivot table. Here where you see it right here, don't know if you guys can see it, but this says pivot table from table range. Where it says has new worksheet, make sure you click OK. Then here we have our pivot table right here. So we can, if you want to, you can rename it to sales data table. All right, and there we go. Now we're gonna come right here. Now for our fields, we want to have sales channels as our columns. So we're gonna drag it. Never want to click it because it's only going to focus on rows, and we don't want to focus on just rows. We want to focus on these fields here. And then for our rows, we want to do ship dates. And there you go. Now for our rows, we only want to focus on the quarters. So the best way to remove these fields is by clicking this arrow here and then remove fields. And you do so right here. Then for our values, we want to have gross margins. And then we will also have order quantity. Now for our gross margin, we want to also find our average. So we're going to click this little arrow here, the value field settings. It's going to pop up right here. And then here in the summarize by field, you want to click on average. And then number formats. Here you're going to see how we have our decimal place here, 1,000 separators, which is what we want it to be. So we'll leave it like it is. So click OK. Then as for our sum of order quantity, we want our formats. We'll go here, category here. We want to make sure we have no decimal places, so no. But we want to make sure we have a separator, 1,000 separators. So click on this checkbox, then click OK. Then here we have that. Now, our next thing that we're going to do is that we're going to include a slicer. So if you're already in this tab called Pivot Table Analyze, you should see that here in Filter, you should see Insert Slicer. Click on that. And then what we want to focus on is a product, which is here, and then sales channels. So click those two. Now these two should pop up. And then here we have what we need. Now, next thing that we want to focus on is that we want to have a product based on the sculptures, and we want our sales reps to be online. So what you're going to do here, as you go down here, we want to focus our product to be sculptures, and then our sales channel, we want it to be online. Now notice as I chose those products, the table started to change based on whatever products and online. That lets you know that whatever data that we have in this big sales data, now we can shorten it with this table based on the choices of products and sales channel. Now the next thing that we're gonna do is that we're gonna include a pivot chart. So you're gonna come to this tab here, then go to tools, click on pivot charts right here. We want to focus on the cluster columns, so this should show you visually how it looks like. Click OK. Then there you should have a chart. Make sure you have it however you want it to be, where you can visually see it. Now the next thing that we're going to add is we're going to add a line on the secondary axis. So click at this big bar here, then right click it, go to add tread lines, and it should create a linear line right here. And your tread line options for it is that it should be linear and automatic. So that way it should look like this. Now, the only time it will only change is if you change, like, say, I want to change my sales channel to be in store. So if I were to click this, then my line and most of the bars will change to however it will be based on the choices of the products or the sales channel you want to be. After all of that, that is how you create a pivot table. At the end of the day, let these data set and leave them to enjoy an episode of Pivoting.